What's going on, guys? Josh at Trademark Exotics here, and today I'm going to do a little video on pieds and pied combos. Just some pretty nice pied combos I have. So starting off, this is just a base piebald. It's a recessive gene that both parents have to either carry one or two of the genes to reproduce babies that visually express the gene. So this female, since she visually expresses the gene, has two pied genes. A het pied has one pied gene, and it's just a normal brown snake. So if you add pastel to a piebald, you end up getting an animal that looks like this. This is a pastel pied, so it has one codom gene and one recessive. This is a really exceptionally nice pastel pied. Just tends to blush the saddles out and just give it an overall different look than a normal pied. The head's always nice and blushed. So that's adding pastel to pied. If you add something like cinnamon to pied, you get something like this. Cinnamon pieds usually come out very high white. Most of the time they just have head pattern only. This one in particular has a tail saddle though, so that's pretty cool when you're gonna try to make panda pieds. You're gonna get a little bit of pattern in there, so that will be cool. Gives them a different color head. Just a more dark cinnamon look to the head. That's just your average cinnamon pie would just have a head saddle and the rest would be white. Some can have pattern, but usually they're just 90% white. More than 90% white. I did hatch out just recently this all white cinnamon pied, but that doesn't happen too often. They usually have a little bit of pattern on their head. This girl just hatched 2 days ago. So that's adding cinnamon and adding pastel to pies. So when you add the two together, you get something like this. This is a pewter pied, which is a cinnamon pastel pied. This girl's possible Mojave, and I'm pretty sure she has Mojave in her, but it doesn't do much to the pattern. It just adds a little bit of brown to the head, a little bit darker of a brown, a little bit of a gold shine. You can just sort of tell she's got Mojave in her as well. She was produced from breeding Mojave pied to a pewter het pied. Like I said, cinnamon usually throws really high white and you just get an animal with just head pattern. But every once in a while you'll get a little bit of pattern on there, but always a really high white animal. She's got real red pupils, just like most pied combos. And she just looks a little bit different than a normal pewter pied, so that's why I'm guessing she has Mojave in her as well. I'll definitely find out in the future when I breed her out. So Adding spider to pod does a similar thing that cinnamon does. You get a really high white animal, usually just the head pattern. This one's a little bit more high white than a normal spide. Usually their full head has pattern on it. Sometimes they come out all white as well, which is known as a white wedding. It's pretty much the same thing as an all white cinnamon pie that I just showed you, except spiders are known to have a little bit of head wobble, little genetic issues. These are definitely one of my favorite pod combos. And when you add pastel to the spider pod, you get a bumblebee pod, which takes the head and it makes it, instead of this brown goldish look on this one, you get a bright yellow head. Same head as a bumblebee, a regular bumblebee ball python. Solid white with just the bumblebee pattern on the head. She's got a little bit of white on her face as well. Once again, red pupils like most pod combos have. This is definitely one of the nicest pod combos in my opinion, a lot nicer than the regular spider pods. The contrast is just really cool. So, we also have this. This is a Leopard Lemon Blast pod. So it has leopard, pastel, pinstripe, and pod. Pretty sure this is the third one ever produced in the world. I may be wrong, but either way, it's a very rare animal, and I'm really lucky to have her in my collection. Glad she came out really low white, so you could really see all the pattern on her. I usually like high white pieds, but I can't complain when something like this comes out low white. Can't wait to breed these things and have all these combos on eggs. The offspring is going to be absolutely insane. So that's a leopard pastel pinstripe pod. or a Leopard lemon blast pied, aka lion blast pied. AKA one of my favorite snakes. Along with this guy. This is a sterling pied, which is a super pastel cinnamon piebald. So it has two pastel genes, cinnamon and pied, all in one snake. You can see why it's called a sterling. He's got an almost silver head with yellow on the sides and mixed in on the top. This guy's gonna be the sire of a decent amount of my pied clutches this year, and other clutches as well. Pieds are known to get these paradoxes on them that are solid black, but what's cool about this guy is his aren't solid black, they're actually sterling colored, just like his head, which is really different from all the paradoxing I've seen on pieds. It's always just jet black. It's just pigment trying to show through. So those are some really cool pied combos. Don't want to keep you guys watching this video for too long. We're going to have a lot of pied combos for sale and pieds over the next couple years. If you guys are interested in purchasing a nice pet or a breeder animal, shoot me an email, trademarkexotics@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram. Thumbs up if you guys like this video. Subscribe if you haven't. See you guys later.